Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another vintage tips and tricks video. Today I'm going to do a little tutorial on an everyday 60s makeup look that I do all the time. This isn't like a going out to a party look or anything kind of super authentic. It is just the kind of chuck on and wear everyday makeup that I do when I'm feeling a bit 60s-ish, if I've done my hair that way or if I'm wearing a 60s type outfit. I did post a picture on Instagram and a follower did ask me to do a tutorial on it. Thank you for the request. Here we go. Most of the products that I'm going to use today you've seen before in my everyday vintage makeup video, which I will link either below or somewhere here. You can go and watch that for kind of more detail about how to do the various tips and tricks for lipstick and liner and that. It's a much longer video. This is kind of a short, quick one today. But a lot of the makeup is the same. I will put the makeup that I use in the description box below rather than putting it up to the camera and talking about it because I have talked about it before. So just put a basic layer of foundation on my face. It's pretty plain and simple, and I'm going to put in some concealer as well. So just covering up any dark circles or spots and blemishes as I go, and then we're going to head into a bit of definition. Let's use a little bit of bronzer, keep it pretty simple. Let's do a little bit of definition under my cheekbones, along my nose, and just in the general places along my jawline and around the edge of my face.
Loving you, life could be a dream, sweetheart.
I just go in with my small brush to do the sides of my nose, just to give me a little bit of extra definition. As I said in my previous video, this is perfectly authentic to do. They did use different shades of foundation to create the illusion of high cheekbones or a skinnier nose, etc. So this isn't really a contemporary makeup trick. It's been around for a long time if you read beauty books from back in the day. Always go in with my foundation brush just to soften it off a bit, otherwise you look weird. So once I have a little bit of bronzer on just to give me a little bit of extra definition, I go in with my blush. And I just sit it on the apples of my cheeks and just the bottom sort of side of my cheekbones.
Done my whole life loving you, life could be a dream, sweetheart.
Yeah. 60s makeup is a little bit bold, so I do go in a bit harder with things like my blush and my eyeshadow than I would for a 40s look. It's sort of exponentially increased from the 40s through to the 60s. The 1930s was very heavy. The 40s, they actually wore a lot of makeup, but they were trying to create the illusion of looking a bit more kind of sweet and natural. But the 50s and the 60s really brought out the makeup and accentuated certain features, and it was kind of, I guess, a bit more artistic. Sometimes I bring it up just a little bit up this way, just to give me a little bit of a sun-kissed glow. Next, I go in and do my eyebrows. With all vintage makeup, I really feel like eyebrows give you the kind of map for the rest of your makeup and you get really big definition. The eyebrows for vintage makeup from the 40s or from the 20s right through the 60s was very defined and very bold. So if you start with that, you get a sense of how bold your makeup needs to be to match that. Otherwise, you can be walking around with these really strong eyebrows if you put them on at the end and you didn't kind of match the rest of your makeup to it. So that's my hot tip. Start your makeup with your eyebrows when it comes to your lips, your eyes, etc. It'll go well from there. So I always start by brushing my eyebrows slightly downwards. I think I mentioned in my last video that I got this trick from a vintage book. So I figure if you want to try and look authentic, take their tips. And I go in with an angled brush like this and my eyebrow powder. And I create my brows. And I make them a little bit bigger and bolder because it's a 60s look and they had bigger, bolder eyes and eyebrows then. I try to put the powder onto the hair of the eyebrow rather than onto my skin, unless I'm adding in something extra like I did down here to make them a bit thicker. But you want to kind of be light about it because if you're too heavy with the pencil, it looks too sharp. It doesn't look natural. And I just prefer a more natural look. I know not everyone does it like that and some people like that really styled look, but I prefer to try and avoid that. And I like to go in and just flick this part of my eyebrow up. I like the way it looks. Then I go in and I do my eyes. Now my 60s eye, you can get really creative and colourful. The 60s had a lot of colour and a lot of pop to it, but I only have three, well actually I only have 2 shades of eyeshadow and my bronzer. So I keep it pretty simple when it comes to my eyeshadow. In the future I will invest in some other colours, but seeing as I'm travelling and I've just moved overseas, I've got a pretty limited makeup supply, so I'm going to keep it with my basic neutral shades and just bolden it for the 60s look. So I actually start with my kind of base colour, just with my bronzer, and I put that over the kind of general section of my eye. I bring it up towards my brow line, but I don't fill in up here underneath the brow because I want to keep that highlighted to give my brows a little bit of a lift. Bring it out toward the corner of my eyebrow to give me a nice kind of shape following the shape of my eye and my eyebrows, and into my crease like this. And for the 60s look, I bring a little bit of it underneath my eye like so. Then I go in with a darker shade just into the corners of my eye here. I get a fair bit on my brush and I just pat it in and pat it into my crease line so I have something to work with my blending brush, and bring it out a little bit toward my brow. And because it is a 60s look, I do put it on pretty strong, unlike when I do my 40s. Even though it's the same colours, I just increase the boldness of it a bit and try and get it in to my lashes a little bit there. And then I get a little angular brush. You can use the same one that you used for your eyebrows. And I just get a little bit on the tip of the brush. I go in just underneath my bottom lashes, very, very close to the lash line. And the trick is to not bring it too far across, because otherwise it looks a bit strange. Particularly as I am going to bring my liner in quite close to the corner of my eye, so I don't want to make my eyes look too small. So you bring it to about the halfway mark, I find you still get a pretty open looking eye. And then I go in and blend with my blending brush. At this point I don't have anything on my brush, I'm just blending the colours I've got in there together to get rid of that harshness. Now some 60s looks you want like an edge to your shadow. If you're doing it like a really stylized eyeliner followed by a coloured shadow that kind of go in line together, you see some really artistic looks. And I can do videos on that if you want, but this is just a really simple look, so I'm not doing that for this one. Okay, so I've blended my colours together to get a bit of gradation. Then I go in with a pale colour and I pop that just underneath my brow, just to keep my brows lifted, especially since we've used a dark colour on the lids. You don't want your eye to kind of look small this way, you want to keep a nice kind of lift underneath your brow. I always put a little bit just under this part of my brow to stop me looking angry, because my brows do come in quite far. If I pluck them further out, I look weird, so I have to try and keep a balance. I also put a touch of white powder highlight just under my nose. I don't have a highlighter, you can use a highlighter for this, but I just use my white eyeshadow to highlight above my cheeks and along kind of anywhere you want to get some highlight. Basically I do it on my chin as well. I pop a little bit of shadow just on that kind of inside center part of my eye as well. So that's my shadow for my 60s look. Okay, and here we are at the pièce de résistance of the 60s look, the eyeliner. Now obviously it's very important to get a big bold eyeliner for a 60s look. I find if you do everything else really simple, which is basically this look, it's a pretty simple look, and you just whack on a bunch of eyeliner and you have nice big eyebrows, you kind of hit the 60s look. Then you want to add big hair. I mean, I don't have big hair today, but I would add big hair. You can always tease up the kind of do that I've got at the moment to keep it simple. You'll see that in the photo from Instagram, which I'll put at the beginning and the end of this video. So let's go in with the eyeliner. Now I do it the same way as I usually do my eyeliner. If you want some more tips and tricks on how to do your eyeliner and how I do my liner, go to my everyday vintage makeup video for some tips and tricks. For this look, I am going to bring the liner in to the corner of my eye, unlike my other video. That's just because I like that kind of cat eye 60s look, and I am going to make the liner quite thick out through the center of my eye or my eyelid and then out into the wing. So I start by lining very close to my lashes and then thickening it from there. So I get the basic shape of the inside of my eye first, and then I work out how thick I want the rest of it, and I gradiate the thickness as I go. So it gets thicker towards this section of my eye here. I don't want it too fat over here, it'll look a bit strange. Well, I do, depends on the shape of your eye. And I do check and open my eye so I can see where the crease is, because you don't want your liner disappearing into your crease, otherwise you can't tell how thick or thin it is. Your whole eyelid just looks black. And from there I pull my eye out, and like I showed in my previous video, I don't get tricky with the wing, I simply just draw it out. Like so. And because it's a 60s eye, I'm doing that wing nice and thick. Come from the corner of my eye here and meet it up. And I like the wing to have a curve to it, so I create that under here.
Take you up and boom, boom, bosh, boom, boom. Tell me I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Life could be a dream.
So you can see I've made that wing quite big compared to my 40s look, which is what gives you the 60s look. And this might seem like an obvious tip, but obviously go in and keep referencing your other eye. Like step back, open your eyes and look at yourself in the mirror and just check that they're the same. Because if you do it all in one go, you'll find that they're completely different. And if you do mess up like I just did here, here is my hot tip. Get a cotton bud, slightly dampen it, and fix the edge of it instead of widening your eyeliner. So I've just got a cotton bud like this, and I've put just a tiny bit of hand soap on it. Actually, I didn't wet it, I put a little tiny bit of hand soap on it, and I go in and I just fix the little mistake that I made. And then you can straighten up the line with your liner pen again. Okay, so there's my liner. So now you want to go in with a big slick of mascara. You want big bold lashes. Don't worry about kind of caking it on, that was pretty much done in the 60s. You want them as big as possible. Sometimes I will put lashes on. I actually don't have lashes at the moment, but I would highly recommend putting lashes on for a 60s look. But you know, you're still going to get the basic gist of it if you've got a big fat wing of liner. So it's a good start. And you want to go in and put some on your bottom lashes. It's definitely done in the 60s. Sometimes they even put falsies on their bottom eye. I mean, if you look at pretty much any photo shoot with Twiggy, she had falsies on her top and her bottom lashes. Falsies for me on my top lashes would be a good idea, because my bottom lashes are like nearly as long as my top lashes, so I really need that extra oomph there. But I don't have any at the moment, so you know. I have a few things to invest in now that I've moved overseas, but you can only carry so much in your suitcase. And my collection in Australia was massive. So that's my eyes after I've done my mascara. The lips for this is really, really simple. I literally just go in with kind of a palish pinkish color. This one isn't sharp, but I'm just filling in the center of my lips. I'm not actually going to line it like I did my 50s lips. You can if you want to go in with a full lip for this, but this is my kind of like day wear makeup, so I keep it pretty simple. And nude lips was very popular in the 60s. I don't currently have a nude color. I have Lolita by Kat Von D, but it's quite a dark, deep color, and I don't really feel 60s when I wear it. It's not pale enough. So I go in with this. And I look kind of weird with a truly pale, like almost whitish pinky color on my lips. It doesn't really suit me. So I go in with this Australis Lover's Coral is the color. And I just fill in the center of my lips. I've already got a little bit of just purple cream on my lips.
Sweetheart. Oh, life ain't a ding-dong. If I could take you up in boom, 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 tell me I'm the only one that
I do have a mild obsession with filling my lip out, so I'm gonna do that just a little bit. So you see I haven't put loads and loads of color on, it's pretty simple. And then I go in, I use purple cream because it's what I've got, but you could use a lip gloss. Whatever you've got in your bag. And voila, that is my simple 60s look for everyday wear. If you would like kind of some more interesting 60s looks with some pop color and some really cool eyeliner, let me know. Thank you to Catherine007 for requesting this video on Instagram. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. You can always share the video with other people you think might enjoy it. And come back to my channel for more vintage tips and tricks. See you next time, guys. Bye!
Oh, life ain't a ding-dong. If I could take you up in boom, boom.